Healthy people have their priorities in order. They make progress. They solve a problem. They contribute to their community. They graduate, get a promotion. They socialize, pay a bill on time, have dinner with their one significant other. That's a good day. A good day for me, only 7 voices in my head. I thought the longer I was sober, the fewer voices I would hear. Nope, it's just easier to tell them apart. Voice number 1 says things like, breathe. You are right where you're supposed to be. Everything happens for a reason. God has huge plans for your future. Today, they are none of your business. Breathe. Voice number 2 is diseased and horrible and very impatient.
Good morning. Get up. We got a lot of illegal stuff to do today. Hey, nobody likes you. Especially voice number 1. He's a liar trying to control you. Psst, Mr. Clean and Sober. You know, I never got to try Zima.
Voice number 3 is afraid all day.
Something bad is gonna happen. That's what you deserve. If it's good, it must be a mistake. Something bad is definitely on its way. In fact, it's probably already here.
Voice number 4 has the answer for every decision I need to make today.
Fuck it.
Voice number 5 is the fun one, playful, childlike, the outer child.
Whee! Something went my way. Playtime. Good day today. Whee!
Voice number 6 is the fat guy in me, the food addict, all day says,
make more skin. Make more skin. You look too thin, so make more skin. You know, if you get bigger, people can't get as close to you. If they get too close, they might see who you really are. So push them away, don't let them in, make more skin.
Voice number 7 is the crisis junkie.
Do something, do anything, keep moving, perpetual motion. Oh, we need a crisis here. If we have to, we will create a crisis. You know, serenity is very overrated.
Let's go back to church. Spiritual balance. Silence is good for the soul. You can breathe in church. Breathe.
Can we bring tequila? I'll go back to church if you let me start drinking again. Hey, maybe we could sneak in one of those cute little tiny liquor bottles you see on the airplanes. You know, the priest is having wine. It must be okay. God wants you to drink. No, really.
I like church. We get to dress up, sing songs, hold hands. People smile in church. Whee!
Fuck church.
You know, they've got those wafers in church.
During the sermon, we could just stand up and shout, I love Satan! Or run down the aisle and slap an altar boy. Hey, take a piss into that collection basket.
Oh, man, I love that guy.
Breathe. Relax. Exhale.
I'm all ready for church. Are we there yet? Whee!
Hey everybody, back again. Mark Lundholm from the Mark Lundholm Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Got a really good episode today. Some of this is alternative treatment to stress. Some of it is substance abuse or grief or just a kind of a lightening up. Taking off some layers of extra weight or pressure. Shed some light is the title of the episode today. And our guest is Ms. Katie Rubin.
Yeah, I'm not going to make any people. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm not going to make any people. I always felt like that was the biggest service I could do to the planet. I'm not going to make any more people. I'm not going to do that. I have a weird thing. It's another thing with the spiritual people. Kind of bugs me. Everybody's all baby crazy. Everybody wants you become a certain age, and everybody's like, but when? But are you freezing your eggs? Because what if he doesn't come? How are you calling in the one? Because if you gotta freeze them. If the one hasn't come, what are you gonna do? If the one with the freezing, I don't give a fuck. I don't want to make any people. This thing doesn't tick. There's no ticking time thing. I don't have it. I never had it when I was young. Don't have it. I don't want to make any people. I'm weird though. I understand. It's you. When you guys show me your baby people that you made, and you're very excited about it, I have weird things happening inside. I have no reaction at all. I care 0%. 0%. Oh, people's people they made. I shouldn't say that. That's wrong, and now you like me less. I understand. Don't care. Have no feelings whatsoever. When people come, look, if you hand me a puppy, I want the puppy all day, forever. We're best friends. I'll take it on a walk. I'll make it pee, backyard, whatever you need. Baby, just nothing. When ladies, a lot of times there's this really like ceremonial, serious pulling back of the top of the, what's that called? The thing that you push the baby in? You slowly, this is Emma. Hey, Emma, say hi to Aunt Katie. It's Emma, this widow Emma radio. She's saying hi to you, Aunt Katie. What do you want to say to widow Emma? I don't care. I feel about your baby the same way I would feel if you said to me, if you had in the stroller and you pulled it back like this, you had like a paint can. And it was black paint. You had a can of black paint with the lid off and a brush in there. And you said, hey, you see this wall here? See how this is a black wall? See it? Yeah, I do. I'd be like, yeah, I do see that. And they would see this? It's very she's sleeping. Open it up. This black paint, you know what I did earlier today? This wall was actually white before. And I took the brush that's in there and I dipped it in there. And then I went like this, like a lot of times. Like I went up and then I went down. And then I went up and then I went down again. And then for like a long time, I went up and down. And now, if you notice, if you haven't noticed, if you notice now, it's all black now. And I put the brush away and then I close the thing like this. See how you feel right now? Yeah. You don't care.
Wow, right? Okay, so what does that have to do with alternative healing or holistic, which we're going to talk about today too? Well, that's not the only thing Ms. Rubin does, right? There's a lot of people who look to the spiritual for guidance, for support. I'm one of them. Mine is a she. My G-O-D, my G-U-I-D-E, my guide, right? My GPS. There's a lot of words for the stuff we're going to talk about today. No offense to anybody who's specific to a particular path, building, book, or belief. This episode is about all kinds of ways to get to where we're hurting. I remember treatment in the 80s. Oh my gosh. Gladman Hospital in Oakland, California. Treatment center, detox, 4-point restraint mental institution. Hey, I'm a graduate. How you doing? They used to do this thing at Gladman called rest therapy. And either I wasn't ready for it, which I'll admit to that right now, or it wasn't fully tested yet. But as a 29-year-old street creeper, 122-pound alcoholic who had two choices for breakfast, either a tall chicken or a short bird, right? In the Oakland streets, it was a tall chicken or a short bird. Every once in a while, we went all 20/20 on somebody. Mad Dog 20/20 was a very cheap liquor. But Thunderbird had two sizes. They had the tall one and the short one. It was either tall chicken or short bird. That's what you had for breakfast, just to stop the shakes. And they told me in detox and treatment, we're going to give you some rest therapy, Mr. Lundholm. Turns out rest therapy was they turned off all the lights. They put you in a dentist chair that laid out fully. They put headphones, these little tiny headphones. They went over your headphones, but they were probably 90 cents a pair, right? And then they played sounds for you. They played the ocean. They played a rainstorm. They played some kind of wind or soft kind of nature. And they put those on you, and then they said, rest. We want you to rest. I want you to close your eyes and think. Meditation was what they wanted you to achieve. What I did was I fell asleep, right? And they would wake you up. They had a stick. They wouldn't put their hands on you when you're sleeping because some kind of legal thing. I think they're afraid to get sued or some kind of inappropriate touching thing. I don't know. But they had this stick and it would poke you. I'd fall asleep and they'd poke me. And then I'd wake up and listen to the rain or the some kind of gentle forest noise or it was beautiful, kind of the ocean, waves come in, waves. Poke with a stick right there. That was rest therapy. And I said, this is torture. Why do you do this to me? Why do you tell me to rest? And we don't want sleep. Sleep is not the goal. Sleep is not the goal. Meditation is the goal. And they poke you with this stick because you were rested, and I started to relax. As always, I want to start by saying thank you to you for tuning in. The Mark Lundholm Show is a very general look at what life hands us, what we use it for, and who it helps. I have the privilege today of inviting to be on with me Katie Rubin, who is not only a friend of mine, but we have a lot of parallel passions, and her avenue is quite unique. Every time I invite somebody to do this show, it's because I respect what they do, and they love what they do enough to where I know you're going to see this as it shows up. In a mindfulness kind of way, Katie, tell me if this is accurate at all, where what you do over and above actress, over and above comedian or writer or performer certainly, is a mindfulness check-in with somebody's inner tuning, try to steer them right, guide them right, wander through their neighborhood and clean it up for them, the wreck up from the neck up that some of us are. Is that even close?
I actually have no idea what words you just said. Words you just said mean so little in reference to what I'm doing. I'm just going to fully erase them and start again. You're such here at communicating. I'm going to have to help you. I'm going to support you from here.
Okay, and listen, for everybody who's listening to this, that's exactly why we have her on. So how old are you? Where were you born? And how did this start?
I'm 43, and I was born in Miami, Florida. And when I was about 23, I started down the path of 12-step. And 12-step was sort of my introduction to a team of people giving me language for something that, I'll be honest with you, intuitively, I feel like I've always known. Which is essentially like when I have this story I always tell of like when I was 9 years old, I was laying on my floor, looking up at I had those little glow in the dark stars on my ceiling.
Yeah.
And I was staring at it and I was getting this deep sense of the vast oneness of all things, like you do when you're 9. And I said to myself, sort of out loud, I said, in the future, I'm going to be standing at a podium and I'm going to be talking to people about unity consciousness. I was 9, I'm not making that up. My point being, I've always been somebody on a path, and the trauma in my childhood led me to behaviors that led me to 12-step, which then started to teach me language for essentially the 3rd step, which is a willingness to turn my will and my life over to the care of something greater than my own ego, which started me on an active spiritual path. So I would argue that like God put me on a spiritual path the moment I was born, but I woke up to that in a conscious way like around 23.
Yeah, and what I like to call, we're talking in a similar kind of direction here, the GPS toward whole self and being of service to the universe, because the universe was wonderful to me. God made no junk at no time, kind of thing. That vision you had as a 9-year-old is probably much clearer, broader. The horizon is wider for Katie Rubin, the individual, to serve in any capacity, and that vision's not limited anymore by those behaviors, right? The bag, the bottle, or was there chemical stuff involved, substance abuse at all?
Oh yeah, I basically, if you could put it in your mouth and it made you feel different, including the thing you're thinking about, I did.
I was thinking about candy.
Oh, I'm addicted to that too.
Yeah, she was my prom date. No, anyway, so what you've just described is so in line with how I believe that we get to a place of better, better ways to better days kind of thing. That's in the book. But what I want to invite people to do is put aside all their preconceived notions of what spiritual healers, what 12-step, what that language that you mentioned. We are given. We are actually, to be fair to a lot of the residents of 12-step meetings, I've heard about these places. I know that they work for a lot of people. I'm a 12-step guy. I don't have any problem saying that. But there's a lot of force-fed, spoon-fed kind of stuff there that says this is how you have to do it. And for the uninitiated into the 12-step world,
yeah.
The third step basically says, I'm going to believe in something besides heroin. I'm going to believe in something besides sex or ego. I'm going to believe in something that actually works to guide me instead of buries me under its weight. I want to compliment you on something first. That's a very wide lens for a 9-year-old. Did that come from your family? Did that come from, I know it's universally given to you, but how did you know at 9?
I honestly, I give a lot of credit in every moment to God. Like, I'm all about kind of God, but not God in the kind of religious, dogma-based, structured, people are bad and shouldn't have human qualities way. I'm into this kind of like source of all creation that is made up of love and that desires us to be happy and fulfilled in every 10-second increment of time. When I use the word God, I'm kind of referring to like the fountain of light that creates all things.
And there's no wrong language here, honest to God. There's no atheist, free thinker, agnostic. Everybody who tunes into this is always welcome to, translate from God to guide, or God to good, or God to love. Mine's a she. My God is a goddess, and great opportunity daily that she says, go get him, boy. I gave you gifts, and if you have a gift, you have to give, like Katie Rubin is doing with hers, right? So if people are offended by the God, I get it. You're supposed to be. There's certain words that are in the English language where we're supposed to nut up, right? Today they can do that, or they can pay attention, because what you're doing works for you and for people that you're helping.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm not afraid for people to be upset by the word. That's why I define the word, is so that people know what I mean when I say the word.
Sure.
So what I mean when I say that word is like there's this fountain of light and it's available to all human beings, and I happen to be a studier of that and a practitioner of connection with that. Now, why do I do that? It's just what you were saying. It's because for me, with my parenting, with my trauma, with my, you could say, past life lineage, if you're into that, I'm not okay without a connection to something greater than my small ego. I'm actually just not. And I'm actually vastly more excellent in my experience of being alive. Like, I want to be here, I'm happy, and I'm joyfully moving forward when and only when I am tapped into that fountain of, I like to call it a fountain of light.
And to use that, because I want to be a translator here in every possible way. There's different dialects of truth and faith and love and hope. If you go to the southeastern United States, they like to use the word y'all. Y'all can mean one person. It's hilarious to me, but yes. If you're in Pittsburgh, downtown, it's yuns. It's the same exact idea. It's a different language, different dialect. Where'd you grow up? Where are you from? I could tell by the way you talk. to use your analogy of a fountain of light, I would assume that it works every day unless I turn away from it.
That's right.
Right? Toward the sex or the food or the other things I've made my third step, turn my will and my life over to the care of money, whether I understood it or not, or attention or performance or ego, right? So if I turn back toward the light, where's my benefit and what happens next? Because I'm listening to Katie.
Yeah, well, here's my experience, right, is that I had this thing where in the early days of trying to let go of the substances you're describing, alcohol, drugs, sex, attention, sugar, man alive, the sugar. In the early days of trying to let go of these things, I replaced each thing I would let go of with another thing from the outside. I mean, that's what we all do, right? Yeah. And for me, including something they recommend you replace it with, which is like connection with other people, like call your sponsor, get to a meeting, call people, connect. I can be compulsive and insane about that. And so for me, what became very evident quite early on, gratefully, because I was in so much pain from this fact, was that it became very evident that literally nothing fills the void, nothing, except for this fountain of light I'm talking about, or this God, or this love, or this universal tree of the oneness of the wonder of the skirt of the wisdom of the witch. I don't care what you call it.
Yeah.
Because what happened for me is I had a profound spiritual experience that actually filled in the void and calmed down my mind and took some of that pain and suffering away. Literally, Mark, like took it away.
Was that a certain date event you're willing to tell us about?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for asking. I was about 7 years into being a sober person, and I had a profound desire to smoke marijuana. Now, I was like elite speaker circuit, speaking all over, doing comedy shows about sobriety, and I'm all sober, and I like can't stop thinking about weed. And I remembered what a therapist, frankly, at the time told me. She was like, look, when you have an OCD behavior in your head, always, that is an indication that there is an emotion that is trapped, that you are unable or unwilling to experience, that if you could experience it, that OCD obsession, desire to smoke weed in that case, would vanish. So I spent a lot of time in therapy trying to get into the like stuck energies and the trapped emotions that were causing me to want to drink alcohol or smoke weed at that point. I did a lot of freaking fourth steps about it. I called a lot of friends. I shared at a lot of meetings. Nothing worked. Then one day, I mean, it's a long story and I'll try to give you the shortest version I can because it's kind of a funny side story. I wrote a solo show, my first solo show is the story of how I wound up going to my first healing school. And it's like a full hour and a half story. But the shortest version of it is a bunch of bad shit happened because I was really suffering at the time. And I believe that our external reality is always a reflection of what is going on inside. So my insides were going insane. So my outside life was a mess. And through a series of synchronistic events that came from a prayer, I said to the universe, look, I am fucked here, and I need you to provide actual transformation inside of my heart because my mind is crazy, I'm losing it, the people who put you on drugs have put me on the drugs don't work, I need fucking help. There's a whole crazy series of synchronistic events that occurred that led me to a Sufi healing school. And for those who don't know, Sufism is the mystical arm of Islam. Now, Islam is a religion we've all heard of. Sufism is the mysticism, which means, so within every religious practice, there's something called a mystical path. And the mystical path is meant to give any individual person who wants it a direct communion with the divine. So inside of Judaism, you have the Kabbalah. That allows you direct communion with the divine. Anybody. Doesn't have to be a priest. You don't have to be fancy. Any old fucking anybody. Inside of Christianity, there's Christian mysticism. Inside of Islam, there's Sufism. So, long story long, I had no interest in Sufism. I wind up at this Sufi school because the guy who's like leading a workshop that I go to, like he says words and they resonate with something deep in me, and I trust him for some reason, and I never trust people. And I go to this Sufi school, and Mark, like the master from Jerusalem, this 85-year-old guy, walked into the room. I'm there going like, I'm a Jew from Miami. What am I doing at an Islamic Sufi mosque on a hill?
Yeah.
This guy walks in the room. His name was Sidi Al-Jamal. And he was like the guide of this particular Sufi tariqa or group. And I'm telling you, what happened for me was my head bowed of its own volition. I instantly started sobbing, tears, just my body was shaking, sobbing, shaking. Before I know it, I'm screaming. In a room of 30 people, we're all there watching this master talk. I cannot stop myself screaming, sobbing, and shaking. So what I now understand, what I came to learn through time in that school, was that this guy was of such a high vibrational frequency, aka his connection to God was so strong, that he was a walking divine light rod. And he was just transmitting that light at us. And I was getting all of that toxicity like blown out of my freaking body so intensely that I couldn't stop. Like I had my rational mind going, you shouldn't be screaming now. And I was able to stop it.
And the bomb exploded, and you're right in just outside where the nucleus was, right? That energy you're talking about, I believe that wholeheartedly. I didn't used to have the capacity to even open my mind to this, but without being all there's a part of us that knows when we enter a room, we are that light. We are that energy. We can be the center of the universe without the grandiose ego that says I'm bigger than the universe, but I'm in the right-sized way to serve. When Katie runs a group, Katie's running the group. You know, that guy, I'm sure he knew that lady screaming, that's her way of being inside the blast zone, right? I bet he didn't blink.
Oh, no, nobody blinked. They knew what was happening because they'd all been there a while. I was new.
Yeah. Hey, we got another screamer. We're doing our job. You know, so
my pain and my trauma removed from my body. Sometimes when you remove pain and trauma, it hurts.
Well, it's surgery. Surgery's never fun.
That's right.
It's unless it's elective surgery, then it's just stupid. Right? Elective surgery is like saying Amish electrician. You just that doesn't go together for me, right? Bacon at the bar mitzvah. What? So there's a lot of reasons to be separate in this world. Color, political views, Beatles and Stones, indoor plumbing, outdoor plumbing, who turns it on, where I point my prayers, all kinds of reasons to be different. But what you said right there was to unlock that locked up, locked in, I got to keep it hidden because hidden is safe, which is the biggest lie that trauma kids buy for a while. I've got two shortcuts for people that are in the book, not to promote anything, but they've worked for me. One is if you got to keep it a secret, don't do it. If it's already been done, don't keep it a secret. And the other thing is, if I can say two things in life, I'm powerful. I don't know, will you help? I can't tell you how much liberty there is in taking the all that stuff that blocks. We have airbags in our chest. They call them lungs, but airbags are for protection. And if I have stuff sitting on my lungs, the pressure, like trauma, shame, that big shame grenade we swallow every day as a kid who was, even if the secret's not our fault, we carry it for someone else, and it kills us one day at a time. And so being able to talk about that, being able to bring light to that in Katie's tutoring here, bring light to that so it's not the secret we keep keeping. 12-step people love to say we're only as sick as the secrets we keep. Well, I think there's a layer above that. I got so good at it. I'm an actor. You're an actor. We're only as sick as the secrets we keep keeping, because there's a longevity there that says, I'm not the perp anymore. I'm not putting my fingers on an infant, a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, to use your example. But I'm still the victim because I'm punishing me chemically. I'm punishing me with sugar. I'm keeping things locked up with sexual misbehavior because I know that role really well. Or I'm going to chase a bag of dope or a bottle of it because I can't live with the weight that this is. So I've had Reiki. I've had EMDR.
Yes.
And what is your particular favorite flavor of let's unlock that stuff?
Yeah, I love EMDR and Reiki. I've done a lot of both.
I got physically ill after Reiki. Physically ill to where, without being graphic, every hole I had decided to let go of some stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, and never once did the lady warn me about this, but it was thoroughly cleansing. I felt like a 9,000-year-old mummy who got wrung out without being broken. I wasn't fragile, but I was emptied. And I never forgot it. It was a place called Miraval in Tucson, Arizona. And she didn't warn me about anything, but I was literally every fluid I could manage just left. And I thought, I'm embarrassed. I'm all those feelings that come up. But I remember feeling so light.
Mm.
You know, what's your favorite flavor of healing? If that's not minimizing anything.
No. I mean, so by the time I started to develop my own way of tapping in and working with clients, and side note, I have a client right now who every time, the moment she and I start working, we call her the sweat factory. She starts sweating. Her whole face is red. And all of her pores just pour sweat out because that's her system's way of detoxing physically that which we are spiritually cleansing through the energy work.
I feel you, lady.
Yeah. Very common with the people I work with. So the flavor of light that I work with at this point, it's just God. It's just straight tapped in. I have a way that I do it that has a name, which is called opening the Akashic records. But really all that is a prayer that I say that taps my heart into this very high frequency of light that I can then direct at you. And it's going to then flow into whatever your issues are, trauma or whatever, and blow that out of you. And you might puke, and you might cry, and you might fart, and you might shit. All kinds of things happen. But what I warn people about is that, like, oftentimes for the 3 days after a healing session, you're going to feel weird. Like, sometimes you get extra tired, or you get extra amped up and energized, or you need more naps, or you're, like, shaky, or you're extra cranky. What that is that when we do the energy work straight from the divine, we're coming from such a high frequency of light that you have to understand for that high vibration to move through the density of the three-dimensional body, that's when like the heavy, sticky, icky stuff has to come out in three-dimensional form because we live as human beings in three-dimensional reality.
Yeah.
So the light is of like, say the 45th dimension, I don't know. And then it comes through, and then you may have to puke because you live in three-dimensional reality, and that may be the form that your stress is taking, but not every time.
And I liken it to sometimes on a very different plane. I'm allowed to work with inmates and soldiers and residents in a facility where they're learning about substance abuse, or families who've been just absolutely devastated by the shotgun blast that is an addict's behavior, all that stuff. And I'll liken it to the cleaning out the pipes kind of thing. It's a very plumbing-oriented thing. But if you hire somebody to rotor out your pipes, there's some really invasive, cleansing, uncomfortable, disturbing kind of... There's movement necessary. The movement is... I'm going to be gushing, sweating for that lady you mentioned, all the other bodily functions, that stuff. But there's a clearing of a minefield up here where I don't know where the mines are. If I'm a trauma kid, a lot of times, I don't know where they're planted. I don't want to go walking around and they're running around there playing like it's just an open area for me to go abuse or amuse myself, because there's landmines in there. That's the nature of what it is. So you talked about total clearing. Is it ever for somebody a one and done? I can't do it again. It was too much. The healing potential was too much.
I haven't had that experience yet, knock wood, but I have had people say, wow, that was a lot more intense than I expected it to be. I'm going to need a couple weeks before I call you again.
Yeah. I've had enough healing. Fucking stop.
Well, I mean, legitimately, it's a lot to deal with, particularly if you're brand new at dealing with stuff and you've got some of the heavier early days kind of trauma, darkness, heaviness, energies that tend to attach to those kind of injuries. I always tell people the first few sessions, we're taking off like the heaviest, thickest, darkest, ickiest shit that's on the outside of the wound. We're not even at the wound yet. We're peeling all the dark defensive strategies off the outer layer of the wound. And oftentimes on like session 3 or 4, we hit the mother lode where the vulnerability is. And that's when you get like a real experience of an internal shift for yourself where you go, oh my God, I'm not mad at my mom anymore, or I'm not angry about whatever anymore, you know.
In your experience, I have a phrase that I have learned to adopt for myself, even if it's a nanosecond level of freedom starts with forgiveness. And forgiving my perpetrators, plural, prevented me from becoming my perpetrators. Now, I didn't know that for the longest time. I got clean at 29 years old, sober, in remission, on track, better guides, principles, whatever verbiage is okay. I found a guide of my understanding at 29 years old. I'm 61. In that period of being in remission, on track, sober, 12-step highlight, I got a coin in my pocket, yada, yada, is the level of forgiveness for me, for him, for them, for they. I'm not in charge of their lifestyle or their patterns or what they do, but I am in charge of forgiving them as I go so I can grow. Is there a forgiveness layer in the fountain of light, in the transference you do from all the power you have to dig into somebody else? And if that's a ham-handed way of saying it, I apologize. To invest yourself in somebody else's spirit, energy, all that dark stuff. Is there a forgiveness layer?
Sure, I understand what you're asking. That makes sense. It's more like this. The way I could frame it would be to say sometimes when you flush, if you think of a human body as being like a pond in a forest, okay? So the human being is this pond. The pond has been sitting in the middle of a forest by itself, collecting algae and bear poop and green leaves and sticks. So there's this like thick layer of like gunk around the edges of the pond that turn the water in the pond green when it should be clear, metaphorically speaking. The dirt, the pain, the trauma has turned the water gross when it should be like clear and flowing and hooray. Sometimes when you bring the fire hose of God, or the divine light fountain I keep talking about, to that pond and you hose that shit out, you blow a bunch of light into there and you throw all that gross gunky water out onto the forest ground, you're going to feel a lot lighter. And the more you do of that, eventually your pond is just made up of clear water because the fire hose eventually will kick everything out. Along the way, oftentimes what you get, every time what you get is the side effect benefits of things like forgiveness. So for example, you might have 10 sessions and on session 11, you'll be like sobbing in the healing chair and going like, oh my God, I realized my dad did the best he could with what he had.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like coming at the same thing from a different angle.
Yeah. And
blow out your pain and blow out your trauma. And then one day, as a result, you won't be able to help if you keep aligning yourself to that fire hose of light. One day you're just, because that's the nature of the heart, you're going to go like, oh my God, my dad did the best he could. Poor guy.
Yeah, trauma, drama, mama issues, whatever got me to some doorway of recovery, the delivery system, finance, romance, circumstance, ambulance. Something took me to a place where, I don't know, will you help? In the nature of a forest, there's gunk. There's bear scat. There's twigs. There's stuff. And being the individual in the forest, I mean, I know that there's only one of me, and there is a divine path that I'm supposed, a place of grace I get to occupy every single day. I don't have to have attention for it. I don't have to get paid for it. I just have to develop and grow in it. As a result of that, some stuff happens. I mean, my kid goes to private school. My ex-wife, she loves her ex-husband. I forgave so-and-so along the way, not setting out to do that, but got to a point where I go, hey, you know what dysfunctional families do? They dysfunction. I mean, mom hid in the medicine cabinet. Dad would do what dad did, but heat rises and snakes crawl and fish swim and rain is wet. I could be mad about that stuff and how it affected me, but if I go to Katie Rubin and she says, hey, you're walking too heavy, let's open up some stuff. Is there ever that, not that much, or let's stop here, or, you know, I'm scared to in the first place because I don't want my pond cleaned out, bitch. I mean, you ever get anybody that's so stuck?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Stop.
Dude, that's the majority of human beings.
That's been my experience. I wanted to hear you say it.
100%.
You know, no, I'm good. I'm good. Look what their hands are doing. Look what their hands are doing. I'm good. They're ready to push you back.
Mark, nobody wants to change. People want the benefits of change without doing anything different, as you know.
Duh. Okay. Isn't that what cocaine was for?
Yes.
Isn't that what cake is for? Isn't that what... And?
Dick is for that.
Okay. You know what? I was going to say porn, but listen, you go, girl. It's your show. But yeah, and some of us guys actually believe we are that giver of relief for you. Katie, here's what I could do for you, lady. If you just relax and right, that's that shyster that says, no, girl, listen, right?
I got you.
Yeah. I will say sometimes, for me, for a long time, sex as the chemical that it was, sex is a bag of dope with skin on it. You know, I do it all. I lick the sides and I get another one. You know what I mean? It's just like, I got all lathered up thinking about it. But aside...
You have a joke, right? Where you're like, I'm standing outside an SLAA meeting waiting for girls to relapse.
Yeah, a little bit like that. That's pretty much the joke. I went to an SLA meeting once. I went in. I didn't go inside. I helped some lady relapse in the parking lot. She was in a white van. It was cool. But now, as soon as I say that, first thought, second thought, third thought, fourth, 15th thought wrong. I go through all the punishment that is for making light of. There is no making fun of that particular process and all that. What I want to say is that's somebody else's gunked up pond. You know what I mean? That we point out, and we can be grateful for, and I'll do the personal work here. I can be grateful for you pointing it out and look at the truth, or I could take it personally. Ouch, what the fuck are you talking about? So I can take it personally or look at it truthfully. Now, when you guide someone past sexual addiction, food mismanagement, eating disorder, a gambling problem, all those outside influences that get in the way of between me and the light, between me and growth. Have you ever come across a particular situation, a client, where you questioned yourself and went, man, I really got to figure out what to do here because this is a hugely unique case. It's a bunch of gunk. It's not a pond. It's an ocean of fouled up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. There are people who come in so full of trauma and of all kinds of other things that what I'm aware of is it's going to take so very long and so very much energy to clear this stuff that I'm not the person for them. I've developed like really strong boundaries at this point. The work I do is very sensitive, and I'm a kinesthetic healer, which means whatever I'm clearing out of you, I feel that as it goes. So if you come in with like if you're all this, I don't have time or energy for that. I don't work with it. I don't do it.
That's honest.
Yeah. But if you come in like this and you're like, there's all this space over here where you're willing, I'm going to say like, okay, let's do this. And then what that means is I have to give that person context. Like, hey, listen, you've got a fair amount of stuff. We're going to clear this and clear this and clear this. And it may take a while for you to get the relief you're here for. So if you're up for that, let's dive in. If you want to be one and done with what you're carrying, I'm not the lady for you.
Katie, please help me here. This is an opinion I have and evidence that I've seen in the work that I'm allowed to do as a comedian, as a speaker with, I got no credentials. I got no letters after my name. I never graduated from anything except county. But I'm allowed to speak to groups as a conduit, at least from here to hero, we call it in group. But I've never met anyone who couldn't be helped. I've met people who wouldn't help themselves enough to be available to help.
100%.
Is that kind of what we're talking about with the,
Everybody can be helped, but I don't have time or energy for people who aren't ready to participate in that help.
Right. I can't care about you more than you care about you. That's too expensive for me. The movie The Green Mile, the inmate, Coffee, the big brother.
Yeah.
A sin eater that he was, that kind of mentality, it costs him his life.
That's it.
Because it's too, you know what I'm talking about? I mean, how much can you take?
Well, that's the point. I mean, I have been doing this long enough now. I've been working as an energy healer for like 15 years that I have pretty great boundaries at this point. I just don't work with people who aren't ready to really rock through their shit and let it go. If they're not going to participate and they're not ready, that is not a judgment on them. That is just, I can't do it for my own sanity and well-being. I have to be very, very well or very aligned or very in my own work in order to be available for other people.
Yeah. Have you ever watched somebody in the mental health field or the healing industry, let's say, that is full of shit? They're not doing their own work. They're hiding in the work. Right. From work they could be doing. I don't want to be one of those split guys that I'm at least 4 different people today. I'm the worker, I'm the passionate speaker, I'm the this part-time dad, this illusionist kind of. I've lived like that as a comedian on the road. It was real easy to say one thing and do another. It split me like kindling.
Yes, me too. I've been that person too.
On the other hand.
Yeah, I can spot it real easy.
Yes.
In it.
On the other hand, you spot some, you brought some. On the other hand, have you ever watched somebody who's really successful at it? And I'm just going to say these names off the top of my head: Joel Osteen, Tony Robbins, John Bradshaw, one of the people who talks about mental health and development and evolution. Have you ever watched one of those people? And two categories here, all right? And there's no filter necessary. I'm better than them. What the fuck? Or they're full of shit. Fuck them.
100%.
Okay. Anybody you know?
There's this guy, Mark Lundholm.
And at some stage in my career, I gotta be honest, I felt like that about me. Right? Like, Mark, why aren't you living what you're given? Right? I mean, that just personal thing. I don't think I've ever shared this in public before, ever. But because I have no fear of what we're doing today, you've inspired that, I'm sure, in a lot of people listening besides me. There was a point where I was, 8 or 9 years sober, in recovery, a meeting guy, a 12-step person, and I could not stop from delving into strays on the road, poking locals, I call it in a joke fashion, picking victims. I'm that sick chick guy, right? If she's broken enough to be with me, that's who I need, right? Because I'm not a whole person, and she doesn't complete me. Nothing does, but I'm going to give it my best shot for a night, right? That almost got me drunk. It almost sent me back to jail in a behavior of, I'm not authentic. And I'm almost 10 years sober. I was 12 years in recovery before I quit cheating on people in a relationship. I'm a serial cheater until I'm not. I'm not now. And that's not an overnight kind of shoot. I got healed. That's that 10 session, 15 session kind of, that every time I put my hand in that pond, now the hand is filthy also. This isn't how I started. I didn't start out to get this shit all over me, right? But that's what it takes, does it not?
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I started this whole conversation with, I was 7 years clean and sober, circuit speaking, successful comedian, solo show performer, earning a living as an artist, which like you shouldn't be able to do. And I'm a woman, if you haven't noticed, so you definitely shouldn't be able to do that. And I want to die. A, B, I'm sleeping with every toxic dude that existed. C, I gotta smoke weed right now or I feel like I'm gonna explode. So
layers. That's layers of the club sandwich that I am, right? Without being, I don't want to minimize anything. I don't want to offend you. And usually somebody says that, guess what they're going to do? It's that person who starts by, well, honestly, like there was another option. You don't do that in court or you get locked up longer. Or the guy who says, I don't mean to be racist, but okay, motherfucking racist, what do you got? But I don't want to, is there a way, and you tell me how long you need, is there a way in a certain period you could take us, everybody who's listening right now, through anything, even a cursory kind of simplistic level of take us through any of that stuff you share in a session. I'm not asking for something for free. I'm not telling you got to do it in 2 minutes. Is there a sample? Or do we just want to go to katierubin.com?
Honestly, here's the deal. Here's what we would have to do in that case is it takes us a good 10 minutes to get in. I got to do a prayer and I got to take you through a meditation and then we got to visualize things and you got to feel your feelings and then I'm going to say words and then God comes and then you're going to have a lot of feeling, then you're going to cry. It's like kind of a whole thing.
Okay.
The thing to do is to just check out katierubin.com/energy work.
Okay. And here I have just a few more minutes of questions, and you have all the answers, clearly. No one else got to name their podcast All the Answers, so kudos to you for getting that one. I don't pretend to be smart enough to know what's going on for other people, but I do have that kinetic, tapped in kind of, I'm a trauma kid, so I have antenna for lust or trust, that range of predatory to sanctuary, who's whom in the room kind of thing. I can literally walk into a room, take a certain kind of breath or second and know bitch, snitch, punk, drunk, bore, whore, wimp, pimp. I know who's in the room right now to serve the room. I speak, I mean, how many languages do you speak? 1,000, right?
Yeah.
I speak defiant. I speak pimp. I speak a broken boy in an adult body. I speak whiny princess. I speak I don't need no water. Thank you for trying to care about me when I can't. All that stuff. Is there a shortcut for families, for significant others, for siblings of the people that won't do their work?
Yes, I do. Okay, there's an author that a lot of us have heard of. Her name is Melanie Beatty. And she had this great thing that she said. She wrote a lot of the Al-Anon material, not for like 12-step Al-Anon, but just like she has books on codependency. And she said,
codependent no more, that, right.
Yeah, this changed my life because it validated a thing I was in the middle of doing when I first started going to Al-Anon, which for those who don't know, Al-Anon is the 12-step program for people who are married to or connected to or related to or know alcoholics and drug addicts or people who are struggling with some kind of chemical dependency or any kind of dependency. She said, detach with love, detach with anger. It doesn't matter, just detach.
Yeah.
That's very oversimplified, but what it means to me is, for example, so my mother but we don't speak, she and I. She's a rageaholic-y, controlling lots of therapists have called her a sociopath. I don't claim to necessarily agree or disagree, but, you know, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck enough times at your face holes, it probably is a duck. Anyway, she's a difficult person who's quite difficult. When I started to practice, like she would, I could just inhale and exhale oxygen, and that was selfish, against her, mean, inconsiderate of her feelings. She's probably borderline personality. Like anything I did was wrong. And so wrong that it deserved punishment actively in the moment from her to me my entire life. Okay. So when Al-Anon people started to say to me, do you know Katie? And I was like, I don't know, 29 at the time. You don't actually have to respond to her. My mind was blown.
Yeah.
That's because she sent me through her vaginal canal. Does not mean I am obligated to engage with her abusive behavior. So for me, having the very source of nurturance and care that a child is supposed to have the most trust in is through the mother, having that source of nurturance and care be literally the opposite of nurturance and care, and having to learn that very difficult boundary process with the source of what's supposed to be love, that early in my life, I got pretty good at going, I see, when you act crazy or toxic or sick or addicted, I am not obligated to take care of you, fix it, change it, or even engage with it in any way. I didn't, what's that Al-Anon saying? I didn't cause it, I can't cure it, I can't control it.
And Al-Anon is a bullseye for comedians because the behavior is so insane, and we call it something else. We call codependence, which is I do something for you without being invited, and I'm resentful because you didn't appreciate it. I can't do it for you. I'll do it with you. Or what I'll tell people, hey, listen. If the members in your family that are broken and toxic and not respecting you, if they weren't related to you by blood, would you ever speak to them again? I mean, you have a right to be okay and safe. I don't owe my parents anything. It's not my job to raise them, right? We earn respect by showing what respect looks like. You and I, we're simpatico here. All that kumbaya stuff, Al-Anon, the jokes were easy in the beginning because I'm the primary care not giver. Right, I'm the broken guy. I'm the shard of glass that you keep stepping on because you put it in your shoe. Right, Al-Anon, where wine is a verb. Right, or codependents who say, well, he just used me because he wanted a good time. That's typical Al-Anon insanity, thinking you're a good time, lady. You know what I mean? Right? And all that stuff that we can make fun of because it's a victimized situation. I choose to be a victim. I stay in that role. The families that want to come to you, that want to reach out to you, and I know that there's a lot of business going to be sent your way because this is a great a doorway for them to go. This is great America. This is Disneyland. You get to. It's an escape from reality, but you'll find out there's a lot of reality in the park, in the theme park. Every ride is symbolic. Every character is recognizable. I got a lot of broken in me. I speak many levels of broken, but as they come to you. The family members, I know that a lot of us don't want any help. The addict, the alcoholic, we're not ready to put down the bag or the bottle yet. But the family members who can step back from that, because we call codependency and enabling and victimization, we call it spousal support. We call it parenting. We call it love. We call it partnership. We call it I took vows. We call it parenting.
Yeah.
All that misnamed kind of toxic. Is that something you can pull them back from or dig them out of?
Well, again, to the degree that a person is ready, willing, and able to hear what is given, sure. I end up, listen, here's what's so fascinating. It's such a good question. I'm glad you asked it because people who come to an energy healer are usually sensitive people. Like if you're sensitive enough to understand that you've got to pull some stuck energy out of your heart, chances are good you're like a high feelings person. And if you're a high feelings person, chances are good you're probably a little bit dependent. Because you've learned long ago, being that sensitive, that the way to get along in the world is just do what they want, make nice, say the right shit, be the quiet little girl or the good little boy or the comedian or whatever role you think you have to play to make everybody freaking happy. So I work with a lot of codependent people.
Yeah.
I am a loud, strong lady. And
Right.
so I am not afraid to tell codependents how fucking codependent they are.
Yeah. And conflict is the center of comedy.
What?
Conflict is the center of comedy. Every sitcom that's ever been popular has conflict, and the revolving door quotient of anybody can come in and MASH, Cheers, Modern Family. There's a codependency that we're born with, I believe, that says, I want a compassion layer in me. I don't want to overdose on compassion, which becomes codependent, which becomes I serve you and it doesn't serve anybody. I'm doing it for you, but it's really for me. There's an ego involved in codependency.
100%. It's incredibly self-centered to be.
Yeah.
I always talk to people about the difference between being kind and being nice.
Yeah.
Being nice is incredibly self-centered. So if I'm nice to you, Mark, and I say nice things about how pretty your face and your little bald head, isn't that cute, your little bald? Oh, Mark. Now I'm doing that so you'll like me, so I feel okay about me. Now,
Yep.
if I'm kind, kindness does not always look very nice.
Right. It's honest.
That's right. Sometimes the kindest thing I can do is say to you, Mark, your head looks ridiculous right now.
And I have the choice there, being people with boundaries. I have the choice as a recovering codependent person and a victim by nature, right? I was taught no other way. You're the victim. You're the pincushion. You're the one we beat around like the tennis ball. We'll get another tennis ball. Don't worry. But I can take that personally. Ouch. What'd you say? Or look at it truthfully. You know, I think that about me quite a bit. One of my favorite jokes is, and this isn't for everybody. One of my favorite. And I write constantly, as I know you do. You're a performer and a writer, but one of the jokes is, you ever have such low self-esteem? I mean, low, to where you're making love to somebody and you look at them and think, I can't trust them or respect them. Look at the choices they make.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I'm self-centered, but I'm narcissistic. There's a new level of that. Self-centered person goes, I'm the center of the universe. Woo! A narcissist says, wait, there's a universe?
That's good. Yeah.
And that's how comedians laugh at each other. Tell the people that are listening. When we really laugh hard, we go, because we either think, I wish I'd have written it. Damn, that's really good. Or see, how can I fix that? Because it's not quite there yet.
Yeah, or I've heard it before, or I've thought it before. So I'm not that impressed because I already wrote it myself.
And I'm being nice.
And I'm being nice.
I know that there's been a growth period for Katie Rubin's career, the track that it's on. So, what's your take on giving to the universe without it costing me my life?
I am pretty attuned to, as we've been talking about this whole time, energies and frequencies. So what I do when I'm looking at, do I give my time to this thing? Do I give my energy to this person? Do I give this whatever, lead to this whatever? I just look at the energy of it and I go, what does it create for the universe if I give this right now? And then I look at, and when I say look at, I mean I feel in my heart. So I feel into my heart and I go, well, what gets created if I just give Mark a little extra love right now and tell him I think he's great? And then I feel in my heart a feeling of my heart expands. So then I'm going to give you that love. But if I look at the question, what gets created if I give this person a little attention and the energy is a contraction, I'm not going to do it. Because my boss is God. My boss is not any rules that men told me. My boss is not, you should always be generous. That's not, I don't believe that. I believe we have to take each situation as it comes and perceive in the moment, what does this choice create versus what does this choice create? And every moment is different.
Yeah, I believe there's an internal, I call it a universal truth. That's how she speaks to me. And hunch, sixth sense, there's a level of psychic, kinetic, I know you have it, and it's an internal whisper or nudge. It's very gentle. It's fearless. And what it does is it says, yes, no. It has very few words to use a whole bunch of truth. And we become more fluent in that language the more we speak that language. Repetition teaches you a new language. So I get it. And when you say, I'm going to give that attention, and it contracts, there's a constriction there that's protection. That's I'm a codependent person. That's my core. I mean, cocaine was exciting or necessary if you had a job in the 1980s, or alcohol put out the flame of shame for an abused kid for a while. It did what it did until it did not. But there's a universal truth that I know everybody can tap into that's in here, right? It's not up here with all the crazy, right? There's a manageable level of cuckoo I do every day as a recovering person. But in here, is there any suggestion that you could hand them as to try to listen to that, even if it's just for tonight?
That's good. Yeah, I guess I would say, does it bring you a sense of harmony and peace below your neck, like in your physical torso? Does it bring you harmony and peace in there, below the neck? Then go ahead.
Excellent. It was really well done. That was very succinct also too. So I have a couple of questions, and one of them I ask every single guest. 5 years from now, in a perfect world, where are you and what are you doing, Katie Rubin?
Wow, gosh, I am such a almost like pathologically in the moment person. That's like a difficult question. I'm such an improviser. I'm such a I don't know, right now it's this. But okay, if I'm going to force myself to answer.
Yeah, please, just jump outside the box for a minute. We'll go right back in.
Yeah, I'd say I would like to be in a long-term committed romantic partnership that works well and has great communication and all the good things we all want. I'd like to be in a house, I live in a really lovely bedroom apartment, and it's on the water, and it's great. But I'd like to be in a house, that'd be nice. I'd like to be doing all of the things I'm doing already. I'd like the podcast to really kind of open doors to new kinds of conversations with new people who I can't even predict are going to come yet. Because a good, deep, interesting conversation, I don't know that there's much in my universe that's more satisfying for me than a real interesting, challenging, exciting exchange. So I'd like more of those with new people that I can't predict. And then I'd say I want to be doing stand-up and my podcast and healing work with people, and I'm doing that. So I guess I'd like to do more of what's happening now and spend time with my dog on the water and have a nice life.
A magic answer, first of all. Second is it sounded like there was a lot of balance in all of that. And I know that without balance, I'm not a good teacher. I'm not a good father. I'm not a good speaker. I'm a horrible comedian. So, but in the comedic sense, here's the joke I wrote in my head as you're talking is the comedy show is called What the Hell is Happening? The website is called All the Answers. So we go from the comedy show to, why is it called All the Answers?
Great. Thank you for bringing that back around.
I do my best, baby.
He's not that old, everybody.
No, I'm not dead yet.
Get off my lawn.
Where's my pills?
So I called it that for many reasons. One, there is a way that in the Akashic records, or you could say in alignment with God, you can get an answer to every single question. I haven't yet run into a question. There isn't something I can channel for people. And it's not coming from my ego. That's coming from Source. That's the weird gift I have is I can hear what it's trying to tell us. So there is an answer to every question, A. B, I named it that because I knew it was a provocative, challenging question and would make some people mad.
Yeah, and mad is an emotion that serves a purpose. I mean, anger for me becomes passion to change something. And I've learned how to focus that and work with it. But the other side of that is I will tell people in a group who has willingly paid for or signed up to hear something that they asked me to tell them, right? And I'm not telling you this. Here's the quote. I'm not telling you this because I'm smart. I'm telling you this because I listen. And that's the universal voice. That's the goddess voice. That's the one that says, talk to her. He has a twin, 7-year-old trauma, military background. She talks to me the whole time I'm working, always. And I just listen and translate. And I know when to channel, when to stop, when to, from years of doing this, 30 years of doing group, as an understudy to a counselor, right? Because I don't have any schooling. I just want to tell the truth as I hear it. And if that works for somebody, it is an answer. It might not be the answer. I mean, you have all the answers, right? No, honest to God, that's your show. All the answers that are available to us, that could be provocative, but it can also be very accurate. All the answers. And if you don't have one that's working for you, an answer here, ask 100 other people.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, don't quit with me.
I'm just one lady who talks to God. I might be insane. You don't have to listen to me. I do have to walk this dog, I think, right now. She's going to...
Okay. I'll catch up with you.
I love you, Mark.
Thank you. Back at you, lady. Really well done.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. I'll see you. You heard a lot of stuff there, didn't you? Yeah. Did you hear her talk about light? Here's what I want to add to this if I can today. Light can mean not heavy. Light can mean source of illumination. Light can be, I don't know, maybe not taken seriously. You're taking this too lightly. Well, sometimes that's exactly the way I need to take it because I get burdened down. Tell me if this happens to you. I get heavy with the wearing of life instead of the enjoyment of going from, point A to point B or from here to hero or from now to wow, right? Life's a trip, right? I heard that from more than just one deadhead. Life's a trip. How seriously do you take yourself? And what was she talking about there? She was talking about the light. I have a point of view that if it's lightened up, we can carry it easier. And one of the ways we lighten stuff up is to let somebody else help us carry the weight, right? Shortcut for you today. Here it comes. We always do a shortcut here. Shortcut. The help you receive is equal to the truth you're willing to tell. So if we go deep into truth, we get deep into help. If the place that you go for assistance needs some questions from us, if the person you've asked to help you, if they have some questions for you, don't you think that's okay for them to ask what they need to know so they can help you with what you brought? Yeah. Katie talked about light. I know I heard the word trust. I know I heard words like opportunity and core and center and breathe, right? And breathe. If you just did that, try right now. Were you listening to what was happening, or were you thinking? And if you're thinking, how many thoughts did you have in that very brief period? It was probably less than 5 seconds, I'm pretty sure. You think I talk fast. You ought to hear me think. I was in jail in the 80s. Earlier than that too, but let's talk about this time, right? You ever ask somebody if they've been to jail? Normal people. You ever ask them, you've been to jail? Jail? No, jail. They get a, oh my gosh, jail face, right? Ooh, jail. You ask somebody who's one of us, you know who I'm talking about out there. How much time did you do? You mean all together? In jail, I remember praying a lot in jail. It was out of necessity. It was out of pure panic, right? Jail is its own nightmare, but in jail I prayed a lot because I was in a panic. Listen, I'm no tough guy. I'm no thug life. I've been in a lot of fights in my life. Most of them I've lost. because my mouth will get me into trouble, and my fists go, hey, we didn't start this, and we're not as good as your mouth is, I'm a lot quicker and sound a lot quicker and sharper and tougher than I really am. So I would sell something that I really didn't have any of on the shelf, right? It was fencing or fraud on the best day, and that's at least a misdemeanor. Well, I caught a lot of flack or consequence for that because I'd rather throw a fist than a party. I like to fight. I'm just not good at it. So I prayed a lot in jail, and the prayers in jail sound a lot like this. Please let me sleep through the night without anybody messing with me. Please help me get out of this. I'll never do what I did to get here ever again. I promise, please. Dear God, I promise. I swear this is the last time. A lot of prayers like that, desperation stuff. I'll tell you what I prayed for, and I remember somebody saying to me, you know what, Mark? I think it was a minister, a chaplain they have at the jail there. He was a faith guy. And he said, pray for something that you need. That you need. I thought, I need headphones. That's what I need. I need headphones in here because I don't want to listen to something when I get a chance. We had little transistor radios. That's how old I am, kids. Transistor radios, yeah. We had little rabbit ears on the TV in the lunchroom. Yeah, that's all you had. Fred Flintstone drove me to court. He was my attorney, right? With his feet in the car. Headphones, that's what I needed. Chaplain said, pray for something you need. I need headphones. I really didn't even give it the weight that it deserved because I needed headphones. I didn't know the difference between want and need. What I didn't know was that I had underestimated the power of prayer, right? I'll say it was a Tuesday that I prayed for headphones. I'll just say, I don't remember what day it was, but the important point is 3 days later, I had 3 sets of headphones. I said, what? What? 3 days, 3 sets of headphones. I prayed for something on Tuesday. First thought wrong, why didn't I ask for money? Why didn't I ask for freedom? Why didn't I? I'm so greedy. I'm thinking so much. Why could I have not asked for? What did I fall short from? Where did I not get what I wanted? I missed it. I missed the power of, I asked for something I truly thought I needed, and I had 3 times as much as I wanted when it ended. That's the point today. Shed some light. How about if the light that you get from truth, from owning your part of the responsible nature that says, guess what? I'm responsible for where I fall short, and I really need to ask for help in some other areas so I don't fall short as often, right? Faith. What's your version? Mine is that if I tell the truth without witnesses, if I don't have any secrets today, if I have some kind of, lens that says, I'm going to do the best I can, and it's not all selfish, and I'm going to pass some headphones along to some other people who maybe don't know how to use them yet or didn't have them for a while or have never had them. How much good can you get from doing good? Now, that's not the best grammar I've used all day, but you got it. You understood. What if I'm the best I'm going to be today and nobody notices, right? Did I lose anything? Light, that word. I heard that word every time our guest Katie Rubin said that today. Light. It always, to me, means up. And I guess maybe usually light comes from there. I've worked in theater and there's footlights, but sunlight, moonlight. I know eventually we always look up for that. That's parallel to faith for me. There's a guiding light for me in my life. She's a she. Goddess, and if you're a subscriber to this show, if you listened before, mine's a she. G-O-D, great opportunity daily. There's a light-hearted quality. There's a lightness in the step I have when I'm more faithful about the path I'm on. But light, how about if we lighten up just this week? Just this week, lighten up. You don't want to be one of those people that takes yourself so seriously. No one else has to, right? You ever meet that guy? You ever meet that guy at your job or church or work? You ever meet that guy? You ever meet that guy? Hey, how you doing, John? Good, you? John, tell your face. It hasn't figured out good yet. I hope you're never ecstatic, John. Your face will slide off your skull. Good almost fractured your cheekbones there. Good, you? I don't know. Lighten up, John. Hey, as always, never too humble to ask you, like, comment, subscribe, share this with whoever. I love being here with you. I love the fact that you tune in, drop by, listen again. Please keep doing that. And as always, hashtag be first. If you don't see it out there, love, light, help, support, grace, patience. If you don't see some, be some. I know you can do this. Thanks for coming by. Later.